Welcome into the Landon Tangwall live Monday night call-in show. Ladies and gentlemen, our favorite time of the week. I am live downtown State College at Studio Center on a very nice fall evening here. The week of Thanksgiving. It is quite quiet around town. Christian, what is up? Owen is saying Terry. Just like the chants in the stadium. There we are, baby. What a great weekend for Penn State football, man. I'm telling you, we're feeling good. We're feeling happy about it. Douglas says, what are the chances we get a coach announcement on Sunday? Likely. I'll put it in the likely category. I think Pat Kraft has to move. We got a caller. Let's get this thing bumping, ladies and gentlemen. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Landon. This is Doug from Lancaster. How you doing tonight?
Doing well, Doug. How are you doing?
Good. I just had a question about Penn State's coaching search because I know that Penn State is trying to swing for the fences and get a big name hire. But when Nick Saban was at Alabama, he was 34-24, and then he didn't win his first national championship until he went to LSU, and then we know what he did at Alabama. Does getting a big name at this university prove anything, or is it worth just taking a big chance and hoping for the best?
I mean, I think where we sit right now, I don't know if necessarily a big name is even in play. I mean, it depends what you call a big name.
Right.
Yeah, no, if you think someone like a Hartline is a big name, maybe. But I think where Penn State's at, I made a tweet about this today, and some people are like, "How dare you say Penn State's already at the bottom of their list?" You know, in terms of their coaching list that they kind of started out with when James Franklin was fired in early to mid-October. And I think it's fair to say we're towards the bottom. I think Chesney's basically the favorite right now. I think he was more towards the bottom when we put together that initial list that probably had Kurt Cignetti at the top of it on October 12th, 13th, whatever that was. So I don't think Penn State really is going to get a huge hire. And so now it comes to the question, it seems like Drinkowitz probably isn't going to happen either. Do you go the Chesney route? Are you going to take a risk on someone? Or do you want to go the route of just keeping what you know with Terry Smith? And I think that's what clearly a lot of Nittany Nation wants. We saw from the chat, we saw from the stadium, Terry. Such an easy guy to root for, man. His press conference today, it's like every time. I was talking to Keith Kuhn-Conlon about this, but I just did his show over at the golf course. We had Marcus Blaze on, the wrestler. I'll tell you, that's 133 pounds of fight right there. We had a conversation, let me know in the chat, of if someone that was about 210 pounds, never wrestled, but if you have like a 70-pound difference, can you take someone down that is, I don't know, that is like, obviously he's a world-class wrestler. This guy's he's a gold medal, but I don't know. I'm curious how you guys feel about that one. Sorry, got sidetracked into wrestling, but let me know. I'll take on a wrestler. I think if I went against, who's the 285 right now? I'd probably get put into a pretzel. Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Landon, you claiming PSU whiffed on a coach is very premature. I never said we whiffed. I just said we're at the bottom of the list. Are we not? Just because Chesney, oh yeah, shout out Anti-Fragile. Yes, sir. K-Cam, there it is. She's beautiful. Go check out Anti-Fragile on East Calder Way. Best cheesesteaks in beer in town. But no, I never said we whiffed. Is it not the truth that we're towards the bottom of the list that we started out with on October 12th? If you disagree with that, I'd like to hear your argument as to how we're not towards the bottom. I'm not saying we're at the very end. I'm not saying there's nobody left. But I don't know how you say we're still at that point. We're definitely have crossed the top names off from where we started. It's just a fact. Guys have been re-signed, all of that. So, yes, we got Penn State Mafia here saying what list. Yes, the idea that, yes, we did want Cignetti. Yes, we wanted whoever, Key, Brom, whoever you want to put out there. Let's just be real about this. Let's not play naive. Big Marcus, my man, thank you so much. If you were the head coach and had to choose NIL director, it's great trolling always in this chat. Monday night is undefeated. Thank you for the donation, brother. Been getting into sumo wrestling. No weight classes. All right, I'll check that out. That's going to be an 11 p.m. watch for me tonight after I get through some film. We got a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Landon, this is Noah from State College. How are you this evening?
Doing well, brother. How you doing?
Excellent. Hey, just calling like two-part question. Well, one's more of a thought and the other's a question. First, I'd like to give kudos to Terry Smith. He's really rallied the team very well this year, and I love Terry. I think he represents Penn State personally way better than Franklin ever did here. He sounds authentic and not like a used car salesman. But with that being said, I don't think we can get too emotional about this, right? I mean, we didn't fire Franklin to hire his first lieutenant, and I love Terry Smith, and I will support him if he's the next coach. But are your thoughts? Is he going to be the next coach? And I've also heard, what is this quote that Adam Brenneman said, that there's this candidate out there that's like what Lincoln Riley did to Oklahoma to USC. And who could that possibly candidate be? Are we talking like Marcus Freeman? I mean, DeBoer doesn't sound like he's that much of a secret. He's rumored. I just wanted to get your thoughts on those two things.
Yeah, the whole that whole thing. I haven't heard anything about that. We've seen that from a couple folks. I don't know. I don't think anything like that is probably going to come out of the woodworks. I do think Kalen DeBoer technically is still in play, especially if he loses to Auburn. I just don't see him coming here. I think it's very unlikely. But yeah, I don't know. I'm so tired of the search, if I'm going to be honest. Is anybody else, can anybody else join me in that feeling? God, it has been what has it been, like 6 weeks? Please get me to the end of this search. I can't take this anymore. I can't tell you how much. Like, I've enjoyed making these videos around the coaching search. We got a really cool one with Chris Buchanani coming at you guys tomorrow. We put together kind of almost a game. So we're trying to make it fun, but trust me, I hear you when everybody is tired of it, because I would love to be making film breakdowns on Rutgers where people actually care, or getting ready for our playoff game. But unfortunately, this is where we are sitting. But yeah, I miss like actually talking a ton of ball. But at this point, it's kind of like we're all in on this coaching search right now. Someone in the comments said, Landon, how would you feel if Clemson and Penn State were to go at each other in the Pinstripe Bowl? Clemson did put a hit out on me on week 2. They got my Twitter copyrighted. So I have beef with Dabble and the whole crew. CJ Spiller, the run game coordinator, we had our beef on Twitter. It was legendary. So if we play them, we'll see how that goes. But I would love Clemson in the Pinstripe Bowl. That is my number one game and opponent I would love to play. Let's go to the phone lines. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi. Landon?
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, this is Laura from Greenville, Tennessee.
Hi, Laura. How you doing? What's your question?
Well, my question is, I didn't think I'd get through. Lost my thing. We always talk about the big hit. Okay, wasn't Marcus Freeman from within? Wasn't Ryan Day from within? Wasn't Joe Paterno from within? Why do we feel the need to have to go outside the house to get what we want? You saw underclassmen with those hire Terry Smith. I've got one of those signs, by the way. I was one of the ones cheering those signs up.
I love it.
The players. What?
I said I love it. I love it.
You know, sometimes it's right there in front of you. I mean, James Franklin, I would love James Franklin. I took a lot of crap with James Franklin. But when I talk with James and we talk with Terry, one talks to you, one talks at you, you know, and Terry has that, I hate to say it, like a pastor voice. You're intrigued by Terry. You want more from Terry. You want to go farther with Terry. This team is night and day from the first week, the Oregon game. The Oregon game, our seats are real close. I had a gut feeling that Oregon we were going to lose because they didn't have the fire. These guys got the fire now.
They do. They do. It's you hit the nail on the head in the sense of like this team was strung. Like they were uptight. They were uptight at the beginning of the season. They weren't having as much fun playing ball, and it has completely changed. Even with Iowa, it has completely changed just the way that this team plays, and that's why I think Terry deserves a lot of credit. A lot of guys, and the players deserve the credit too. But if you don't have the head man to rally those troops to have the type of season and response to the beginning of the season where all of your guys are coming back for one more go around, and they don't know, you know, they're banking on this year for their draft stock, and it all goes south for just about everybody. Season in the gutter, a lot of people's draft stock down, and you still got these guys fighting and showing up how they are. It says a lot about what Terry can do to a locker room. And he says it. He says, I'm a leader of men. So I think that is a very important quality. It seems like the fan base is kind of split. I don't know. Because Facebook leans one way, Twitter is kind of split down the middle. It seems like everybody on my YouTube here is kind of split in terms of it's ridiculous to hire Terry. We can't just go off of emotion. And then there is, as kind of you presented, the fact why can't we do it? He's shown some really good things, and we know what we are getting out of Terry. It's tradition. It's all of that. So I definitely hear both sides. Obviously, as a Letterman, you've seen how all the Lettermen feel. I'm going to lean a certain way because I have some bias. But yeah, I do. I have the questions. I have the questions for Terry of what is this rebuild going to look like under you? Where are you going to get the coaches? Because Franklin's going to poach his guys. Some guys might go elsewhere. How many of these coaches are you planning to keep around? Realistically, how many players can Terry Smith keep? Because that's the biggest upside to Terry, is the fact that very likely he is going to keep a much larger chunk of this roster that we're returning. And if we hire someone else, way more guys are out the door. So that's obviously the lucrative side to Terry, if you will. We got a couple donations I think we need to. Cornwall, here we go. What it do, Slime? Wow, it is Monday night, guys. It's time. We haven't done this since like week 3. Most random Penn State football player that you can think of in the chat right now. Go winner. I don't know. We'll give you an anti-fragile gift card. We'll have to decide on that one. But everybody throw their names out there. We'll come to a decision on a winner. I decided to put that out there. We haven't done that in a long time. That was like my favorite night when we just started throwing out Penn State football players' names. I got trolled a little bit, I think, too. But Noah Taylor, Heartline head coach with Terry associate. Yeah, I mean, I think Terry would do that. Terry said, look, I'm open to anything that can allow me to stay at Penn State. Obviously, he wants to be the head coach. But yeah, I hope whoever comes in next does make Terry the associate, because he should be that. And we're not in Terry's head, but I think Terry still wants to be a ball coach. I don't think he wants to go be a GM or be any type of player personnel guy yet. I think he wants to continue to coach the cornerbacks. We got a caller. We got a Jake Penniger. I don't think it's that random. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yo, this is Kyle from Denver.
Kyle, what's up, brother?
Hey, not much, man. Hey, I don't know if it's that, but I wasn't a Terry guy at all when he took over, but I don't think people are really like considering the fact that he took, after the Indiana loss, he went and had the team ready to go and just destroyed Nebraska. On the flip side, we had an $8 million head coach just flop after losing to Oregon with the whole season still in front of them. So I don't know, man. It seems like he can coach. My biggest question for him is recruiting. Like if he could maybe get some guys signed here or recommitted, or maybe some verbals on Twitter, get some more confidence in him. But I think it could be a good option. But I don't think Kraft's going to hire him, let me be clear. But would love to get your thoughts on that.
I'm with you. I don't think he will pull the trigger. But it's also, like I said, I do think you get to Thursday, Friday night, and if you're Pat Kraft, and if you don't really know where you're going, you do have to make the move. As much as people can say you can wait, I don't really think you can. I mean, yes, I understand this 2026 class is going to be bare, to say the least. I think right now there's 11 total guys. I would expect half of that to actually sign with Penn State. Half of those guys were at Virginia Tech for an official visit. We got, James Franklin, and the crew hitting up players, getting them to turn over Virginia Tech kind of as expected. And also as expected, the naming of players has turned into naming players that may or may not have committed crimes. So that's great right now. Look, I mean, this has just turned bad. Oh, boy, you guys, I'll tell you what, there's nothing like the Monday Night Live call-in. It is one of a kind. We'll take a caller here. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Northeast Boomer.
Northeast Boomer, what's up, brother? How are you doing?
Hey, LT. Hey, real quick, appreciate you bringing forth the fact, because we always felt something was wrong with Franklin, never liked the guy. And, not having any pictures of Joe, the Lash building, and Letterman not coming back. I wonder who the hell he thought built that stadium when Jimmy was standing in it, right? And the one question I guess I have for you is that, we keep saying that, we're at the bottom of the barrel. Look, we've got the top of the barrel right there in Terry. I was down at the stadium. I talked to a lot of people like you have. They want this guy. And Pat Kraft should bring him in. He should work with him. He should help build his, and his administration and his OC and DC if he's going to keep him there. That's my opinion. And I'd rather see him get 3 years. If he doesn't work, Pat Kraft will be fine. He brings in one of these other guys because they can lay an egg. They're not perfect. But anyway, I'll get off. Keep up the good work. And maybe you should go over you do a great job on the blog. You're going over game films. Maybe you should do it with Kevin at the obligatory every once in a while. Go over the game films with him too. But at any rate, keep up the good work, brother.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. Northeast Boomer, always a great call in, and always love a slight shade on Kevin Horn every single time. It's fantastic. I actually got educated last time we did this, where I told you guys to name random players on who Levon Chisley was. See, we can't play games here, guys, without it just going the complete opposite direction. That's why we love the Monday Night Chat. I mean, come on, we got a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Landon, this is Matt from Penn State jerseys, the guy behind the Penn State signs, the Hire Terry Smith signs.
There he is. Matt, what's up, brother? How's it going?
Doing good. I just want to make one point on this hire. Here's what it comes down to. Pat Kraft, like anyone else in that position, is also going to be thinking about his self-preservation. And if he doesn't have an ace in the hole and he doesn't hire Terry Smith, and that hire does not work out, that'll be his last hire he ever makes at Penn State. If he hires Terry Smith and it doesn't work out, he will get the opportunity to make another hire. Curious your take on that viewpoint from Pat Kraft's perspective.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting thought. I don't know how it's viewed if he does decide to go with Terry. I mean, no matter who he chooses, he's putting his stamp of approval on that. And Pat Kraft has to hit on this thing. So I do think there is some of, especially if he were to go with Terry and someone else picks up Chesney. Let's say Chesney goes out to UCLA and then UCLA gets turned around and they're winning some real games and we're not, then I do think that could kind of affect how this goes. If Hartline is out in, next year and is starting to really succeed with someone else as a head coach, then I think that looks worse on Terry Smith. So, Mike brings up an interesting point in the comment section. He says, who actually thinks Terry Smith can win a natty? I don't think most of us would believe that would probably happen. It probably wouldn't. But I also think we have to limit our expectations. I don't think we're looking at a natty next year or the year after. Like, we are going to have a bit of a rebuild. And I won't get too far, ahead of myself. Who knows what we're looking at going into 2027. And yes, it's a favorable schedule next year. But let's limit our expectations here. Penn State is going to have to go through a real 2026 rebuild where it is transfer portal and guys are moving around, and the college football schedule has never been more unfavorable to a team than probably specifically Penn State this year, with a mixture of early signing day. This is the second year, but early signing day getting moved way up. You also lose that spring transfer portal window. And that's big because before you could get your guys in December. That's where you get the big chunk. You go through spring practice, and then you see, all right, where are the holes in our roster still? Let's go out and fill them. That roster's set. I think it's January 2nd to 15th or 16th is the one and only transfer portal. Whatever you get there, that's all you got. You're going into the season with that team. So I would manage expectations, but Bubsy makes a good point. I mean, maybe Terry is the bridge coach that gets this thing going. I think that is a real thought there for me, at least, that he would be good to be able to kind of rally the troops as we've seen this year. And that's what Penn State's going to have to go through. But those are the biggest questions. The recruiting, what guys can you get out of the transfer portal? Can you go out and get a hot offensive coordinator? You're going to have a lot of money behind you, that's for sure. And you also don't have to pay Terry Smith nearly as much as you have to pay a big-time coach. Probably paying him half what you would pay if you would have gotten an Elko or anybody like that. So sign him to a 2-3 year deal. See what he's got. Obviously, I'm leaning that way. And we lost our caller. Guys, continue to call back. I'm sorry. I feel like sometimes people say they're on the phone lines forever, but sometimes it doesn't ring through. We're going to, oh, here we go. Is it 814 I hear?
Kind of
What is your name?
your deal.
Where are you
See what
calling
got.
from?
Obviously, I'm leaning that way. And we lost our caller. Guys, continue to call
What is your
back.
name? Where are you calling from?
Sometimes people say they're on the phone.
I started listening to myself.
Wally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Wally, what's your question, my man?
Hey, I hear you guys talking a lot about all these different ones. I'm a big Manny Diaz guy, and I don't hear a lot about him. I know you have some insight on him. Could you just tell me why we're not hearing about him? I'll hang up and listen. I'm just curious. He just doesn't seem to be getting as much talk as a lot of these other guys do, and I think he'd be a great candidate.
Yeah, I think as you continue to go down this list of whatever Pat Kraft has, but I think we'll have a fairly good idea of where we wanted to go. And we missed on what seemed like some of the top options, since people want to say we don't know what the list is. I think we knew who was at the top of the list to start, and guys have slowly either signed contracts or went somewhere, So we're at the point now where we're starting to get to what I would call a fallback option. And I always said that Manny Diaz honestly is the number one fallback option, unless you want to say that's Terry Smith. But I would love Manny Diaz. I think Terry Smith, I know Terry Smith loves Manny Diaz. I am surprised, honestly, that name hasn't gotten brought up more in the past really week or so. And it seems like this has started to kind of zero in on all roads point to Bob Chesney. But as we've now seen, everything changes by the day, by the hour in this Penn State head coaching search. So I think we're sitting here, it's Monday night at 8 p.m. I don't know. There's gonna be a lot of movement in the next 100 hours. Ooh, someone said, Landon, would you have committed to Terry straight out of high school? You want me to be honest, and I've said this. What's the paycheck looking like? Because the answer is yes. If the paycheck's right, I'm being 100% real and telling you what these recruits are thinking. They don't care that much about facility. Everybody talks about facilities and how much they matter. Not anymore. It's who's got the best paycheck. And that's why I keep saying Terry Smith is also a very viable candidate, because then that was a big piece of what came with all the support that he's getting and kind of bringing the old guard back into the mix. And it's the best of both worlds with mixing the young donors and the old donors, and everybody's involved. There's a lot of money involved, and you're saving half of, like I just said, half of what you normally would on a big-time head coach. And Terry is going to take a university-friendly deal, and you can spend that on a big-time coordinator. So there's a lot you can do. There's a lot more flexibility with Terry Smith money-wise if we go with him. We got a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Landon. Brian DeBoe calling from New Jersey.
My man, what is your question?
My question for you is whether or not you think it's realistic that Terry can get us to the natty level. Kraft said that was the criteria for success, but it feels a bit like Obi 2.0 trying to get us through the storm.
I think that's a great comparison. I even said that. Like that was originally my plea for Manny Diaz when I made my video on him. I'm like, hey, Penn State, it's obviously no storm close to what happened in 2011, but this is going to take a second to get a rebuild. And so, yeah, you need a glue guy. So that's why I was leaning Manny Diaz, and as Terry Smith, I think all of us really didn't take it as a real option early on. And Pat Kraft was like asked about it, and he's like, oh yeah, Terry Smith is definitely in it. Everybody's in it. And it's kind of like one of those things like, oh, the local McDonald's manager is in it too. But I think we didn't really think that was a real option. And I think partially we're loving everything we see. Shout out Chris Buchanani. He had a great article on this of like, you're just getting this genuine guy who is making us remember a lot of the older crowd of why you love Penn State so much, is uniting everybody. And we don't have a lot of that nowadays. That is so rare for us just in America at this point. And so it just feels so genuine, and it's touching everybody's heart. So yeah, it'd be ridiculous to say that anybody that's saying hire Terry probably doesn't have some emotion involved in it. But guess what? Emotion's good, and that's how you play ball too. And you think how we're feeling, all the fans are feeling about, man, I'm coming around to Terry. The players are feeling the same way, and they were probably there before us because they get to actually see and be a part of it, be coached by this guy. And I don't think it's not a players holding up the hire Terry sign just because they like him and they're friends with him. Terry Smith has a great understanding of how to be a head coach. He's not just friends with his players. He's a role model for his players. It's not buddy-buddy. And that's when, as a player, I have the ultimate respect for a coach. If they try to be buddy-buddy with you, there's a lack of respect somewhere in there, like to a degree. But if you know that coach is going to snap at you when you need it, and he's going to have those tough conversations that needed to be had at certain times, but he'll also love on you when it's the right time, like that's the type of coach you need. And that's all I've heard and all I've seen about Terry Smith. I see Mike Robb at halftime. That was he went in. He let it be known how he felt, and I thought that was an absolutely fantastically put. All the lettermen behind Terry. I'd be lying if I didn't say that, and that's obviously there's a bias there, but someone said, "Dig up Joe Fox, get me a shovel." That is how some people think, but no, I don't know. It's gonna be weird no matter what happens. I'm like I said, all I knew was James Franklin as the head coach of Penn State. So this past couple weeks have already felt odd to me because that's how I remember college football, and I'm sure that's how a lot of people it was for Joe. But I think it's the other thing, like Penn State. I don't want this to be the new norm, but we had a coach, and OB was in the middle. But you had a coach for 50 years almost, and you got Franklin for 12 years. It's not the norm to have coaches that long. Like we're gonna have turnover, and we might have to go through a couple coaches to find the right guy. I'm just being honest. This is the worst time to need to get a head coach. Let's just be clear about that. This is the worst coaching cycle that there has been in a long time. There was so much movement. We'll go to the phone lines here. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Amanda. This is your favorite Chinese fan, Martin, calling from New York.
My man, what's your question?
I actually got a bunch of questions, man. I was just watching some old games this weekend and the game highlights. Let's say like the Ohio State game from the previous year, right?
Right.
So
right.
I noticed that our wide receivers are like our main weapons during those times. Like, what happened? Like, what led to the drop down to the wide receivers? Like, did it happen when James Franklin hired Marcus Hagan? Like, why is he like? If that's the case, like, why is Marcus Hagan not fired? Like, do you think James Franklin didn't fire him purposely? So like, he had have an excuse. Let's say like,
yeah, you sound like he's got an excuse. He's got a fallback for to kind of blame someone else. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, he got somebody to throw under the bus.
Yeah, so I do think that's. I mean, look, you definitely have to look at some of the assistant coaches of where the shortcomings are at those positions and ask about the development. That is absolutely a real piece of that. And look, I don't think a lot of this coaching staff will stay around. It's unlikely if Terry Smith stays, probably a lot more stay, but there's a couple people I absolutely do want to keep on this staff. But yeah, you got to look at wide receiver, quarterback, all of that. PSU 06 2022 says, can you give a shout out to my daughters, Emily and Julia? Emily and Julia, I appreciate your support. Thank you for watching the show. Wow, your dad roped you into this. I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. We have great fun over here, so we appreciate you. We appreciate you upping the stock of the woman audience because I don't think we have a lot of that over here. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for always tuning in. I saw another one. There were some comments up there. I lost them. We had some funny comments up in there. People, I'm telling you, people are a different breed on Monday night. It's a different type. So hopefully your daughters aren't watching the show when it gets too crazy in here. We got a caller. Here we go. People ringing the phone lines tonight. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Papa J, Red Lion.
Papa J, Red Lion. There he is. My man, always calling in. What is your question?
Okay, this is totally off the subject of coaching, but it's something that I've really wanted to be answered, and you are somewhat of an expert in this field because you've lived it. There's been a very large number of people on the injured list. And I notice offensive linemen in particular tend to get injured very frequently. Now, it might be just due to the violent nature, but are they is the weight training team training people in a way to prevent injuries. Because if I remember several years back, I think it was running backs were getting hurt, and then they changed the way they were being trained, and it made a difference. So what do you think about how the training system is working?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chuck Losey does a really, really good job. If you want to be real, I always did think, and this isn't just like me just like piling on, I truthfully always did think that Franklin's practices were way too long. Because, like, in season, you don't need to be out there close to 3 hours. Terry has significantly cut practice down, and I do think that is important. You do not need to be out there for as long as a lot of these old school coaches or some coaches just think that you need to be out there because it's, quality over quantity, I guess, is the main thing I'm looking for here. So a lot of coaches miss that. Cameron says, Landon, Tristan Bounds, I work for his dad. Tristan, one of my best friends growing up, played offensive line in Michigan. He would let me hear it all the time. I don't want to talk about that. Michigan has shirts, actually. We would train. He was an offensive lineman, and we'd train together when we were home, and he'd wear the shirt. They have the yardage on it from 2022. I think they ran for it was like 300 and something. Maybe it was 400 yards on us. Let me stop talking. I don't want to think about it. Big Marcus. Big Marcus is always coming with something. Landon, quick question. On the 27 boards, they said you are long blank, and they had to unfollow you for being annoying. Any comments on this beef? Wow. I don't know. This really touches my heart, Marcus. It means a lot. We got a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from? What is your name? Where are you calling from? Lost them. Into the abyss they go. Hey, Chop. And we have a Rutgers fan here. Oh, Rutgers in the chat. Rucker coming out to Piscataway this weekend. The battle, we continue to have, this time not Joe Letterman, but a couple former, Penn State guys here. Shiana was coaching at Penn State for a long time. He's going to want to win this one. I predict I'm feeling another blowout by Terry Smith and the boys. I think I got my swagger back is how they're feeling this weekend. Yes, phone lines. Here we go. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Steve. What's up?
Steve, what's up, man? What's your question?
How's it going, LT?
It's going well. Sorry, someone said, is Pat Kraft waiting to check on this hire for being on the Epstein list? I'm sorry. Okay, continue. I had to read that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, my man.
Look, given the defensive coordinator we used to have, it is certainly accurate due diligence that needs to get done.
That's it. Just a statement.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk about who's going to be the next candidate and whatever. I think everyone's been bringing up their points. I have no knowledge or anything useful to add to that. But the one question I had is regarding all the decommits we've had. If you compare us to Florida and LSU, who lost their head coach basically around the same time, we have dwarfed them on decommits. Now, I saw something in a Reddit, subreddit, and take it with a grain of salt, but someone coming off as being a parent of a recruit saying that essentially the NIL department is kind of like forcing a lot of these kids to decommit. And one can argue it's Franklin's guys giving Franklin a built-in heads up. I could also make an argument that they need to clear out space for a lot of people in the transfer portal. Have you heard anything? And even if not, what's your opinion on why we are seeing so many more decommits than any other school?
Yeah, so I think number one here, we are the only school that has fired their head coach. So you can look at Hugh Freeze. You can look at Kelly at LSU. They're not going anywhere, and they're not marked to go anywhere. It was pretty obvious James Franklin was going to go to Virginia Tech for a long time, and now he's already there. So we are the only people in that situation. So naturally, yeah. I mean, when a head coach goes, they take almost their entire staff. There's going to be many more people to follow James Franklin, and a lot of that in the recruiting department. So, yeah, they're going to work for their next team. They're going to be trying to get kids to Virginia Tech. So it does sound a lot slimier and grimier than it probably is the fact that we have probably have current, I don't want to say certain, allegedly, that we have people right now on the Penn State staff that are basically working for Virginia Tech. Yes, that is a real thing, trust and believe. But that's the biggest thing, is that Franklin is at another actual tangible school, so he's able to start to pull them away. I think the other piece of this too, and I put a tweet out about it, is that for so long, guys were taking a little bit less money maybe to play for Franklin, and there was belief in him, and he was getting the guys to commit for lower than other places. And we've just seen that. Like this past summer, it wasn't even close. Talking with Joey O'Brien, who's from PA, and he's going to Notre Dame, and a couple other guys that are from PA and Philly at that. And they're saying, yeah, the Penn State's offer is half of what USC and Ohio State are offering me. So that was a piece of it. And some of the kids said, hey, I'm going to believe in Penn State. I'm going to believe, they're believing in, in James Franklin and a paycheck, but they said, I'll take a little bit less. And so when that goes away, I mean, I'm not necessarily going to stay committed. And yeah, so like I said, you got other people that are even around trying to help pull players away. That's difficult. And I don't think Penn State's going to sign a big 2026 class. And if you do hire Terry, I'd be curious to see how those next couple days go of him trying to put together a 2026 class. Is that something recruits could get behind? I don't know. I think he'd have a large budget to work with, though. That's for sure. Isaac, thank you so much for the donation. He says 409, massive win over Nebraska. Let's put Rutgers in the ground and get a bowl. Also, you already know we love the show in Michigan. My guy, appreciate you guys always supporting. We got a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Lebanon.
Brian, my guy, what's your question?
Is it signing day next week?
It is Wednesday.
Wednesday. So don't they really have to name somebody as a coach maybe Sunday at the latest? Because otherwise you're asking these guys to have blind loyalty to a coaching staff that they don't know is going to be there in a week or two.
Yeah, I think you have to. That's why I've said all along the hire needs to be made on that Sunday, or we need to know Saturday at the game. I mean that's kind of happened before, but yeah, someone said Rutgers is already in the ground. That was good. Yeah, no, I've totally said that Pat Kraft's deadline is November 30th, which is the day after Rutgers, without a doubt. There's no way you can wait. I get that we're not. Holy crap, Walt, $100 donation. Thank you so much, brother. You guys are truly amazing. That's going to go towards some anti-fragile beer right there, I'll tell you what. No, seriously, thank you so much. He says, great job, Walt. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, but head coach, it's got to happen soon. I think we're going to start to really, really get some heat here in these next couple days. And I would say Thursday and Friday, my guess, we'll start to have a good idea. If Pat Kraft waits till after signing day, I mean, there is the point of like, do you wait till after signing day if you think you can get your guy? Because I will be honest, you're not going to sign anything significant on signing day at this point. Or there was one defensive end. I'll have to look up his name and I'll tweet at him. I think it's Ford, maybe. His name might be Ford. I forget exactly, but he basically said like he's still committed, and I thought that was really cool. Anybody that stays committed and continues to go on that track and just stay committed to the school of Penn State, they're going to have some respect. That's real. Someone said the $100 is the Terry Smith effect. There we go. He's making the super chats bigger. I mean, this is amazing. I'll tell you what. Yeah, someone confirmed. Yes, it's Ford. Jackson Ford. That is it. Yeah. Shout out to Jackson Ford. If I'll have a ton of respect for him. Someone said Henry Ford. You guys are funny, man. I always have a good time with you. Always bring the spirits up. We got a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Landon. This is Peter from Pittsburgh.
Peter, my man, what's your question?
All right. So, what do you think will happen first? Penn State wins the national championship or State College gets the Chili's?
That's actually a really good question. Oh, man. I'm going to go. God, I want a state child. I want a Chili's and State College so bad. You give me 10 years, it's going to happen, if you want me to be honest with you. So do you think Penn State's going to win a natty in 10 years? I'll turn that back around on you guys. Let me know. I'll put faith in the guys. We'll get a natty before 10 years, but best believe that Chili's coming back, and we're gonna be there every night closing it down. Matthew, thank you so much for the donation, my brother. We got a caller. You guys are ringing these phone lines tonight. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Yo, Landon, it's your boy Steven from Philly. So just so you know, when I was at Penn State, there was a Chili's in State College, right where Champs was, but that's not to make you sad. I have one question, though. Is it an overreaction right now about the Terry Smith effect? I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Michigan State sucks. Nebraska's not very good. He botched the timeout call against Indiana. Like, I get it. He has the boys playing. They're acting like dogs. I love it. Your O-linemen are finally grading out well, best in college football. But are we a little too excited over this? And should we candidly all be hoping for maybe an upset against Rutgers this Saturday to make the coaching decision a little easier?
I mean, naturally, yes. Yes, we definitely are putting too much emotion into this. I can 100% guarantee you that is the truth. Now, is it fully wrong to do that, I guess is the question. I don't think so, but I keep going back to, like, this is the first time in a long time. Not only people have felt all this unity, but it just, college football has just seemed so fake over the past couple of years and all these guys getting money, and it has just felt pure again. It just felt like how college football used to feel. And that is my biggest question too for Terry. Is like, hey, you are really enjoying this coaching the ball, coaching ball and stuff. But are you gonna, and obviously he'll do the best job he can. But how's it gonna be with managing rosters and putting all that together? And that's honestly, I start to ask those questions. You say, hey, can you get a great GM? Which I think he could. Him and Pat Kraft talk together and find a guy that can really be. At this point, people have said to me, like Twitter, like, oh, like, no way college football GMs are the same thing as NFL GMs now. Like, I know it's very different. Like, it's not. It's really not. The only difference is, for the most part, unless you're Andrew Luck, the GM is below the head coach in college football. That's the only difference. Outside of that, you're doing the same things. You're managing a roster. You're figuring out where the money is going to be distributed. You're talking to agents. You're dealing with disgruntled players, because you can't be doing any of that as a head coach. And that was a problem with James Franklin, is just he was trying to micromanage everything, self-admittedly said, I tried to put my fingerprints on everything, and you can't do that. So I think, yeah, if you stack Terry with the right people, he can succeed. You are basically the CEO as the head coach. You don't need to have to be a mastermind on one side of the ball or the other, just because Dan Lanning and Ryan Day and Marcus Freeman, and that's, they have their expertise. You don't have to. If you can put the right people in place, you can win at a high level. Oh, are we already talking about? We're already talking about the Joe statue in the chat. That's how you know this is. We've already been in here for a long time. We will take one last caller right here.
In Cruise Scrolls.
What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Nate from Lancaster. How are you?
Nate, doing well, brother. What's your question?
Got a question for you. So, one, we report James Franklin for altering our recruiting class, and two, odds are James Franklin and then Terry Smith can put together a coaching staff for all Penn State alumni. We run it back at Jay Paterno's staff. We go for it.
That's fitting that would be the final. I know that was a troll job, but that was fitting that this was the final call-in. So Jay, let's go. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we'll go Jay Paterno, offensive coordinator. We'll run. I still don't know all the way what the spread HD is. I know what spread is. I don't know what HD is. The high definition spread. Is that what that is? Someone let me know in the chat what the hell spread HD was. But I'll just ask Jay at this point. Garrett said, thank you for the donation. Garrett said, let Terry coach the next hire. New one after that. Yeah, I mean, Terry needs to be a part of this team, guys. That's clear. That's evident. He said he wants to be, if he can, he'll find any type of role to stay at Penn State. And did say he wants to be the head coach, obviously. I think he's going to be the head coach? Probably not. It's probably unlikely. I do want to answer this last question someone asked in the chat. He said, did the 409 pin hurt Terry's shot? I said this on my show today, if you watched the Terry presser, that my review of that. I think Terry personally kind of knows that he's probably not going to get the job. And as much as it was honoring Joe, it was also a middle finger to a lot of people of just saying, hey, I'm going to make a statement tonight. And I'm going to kind of rile things up a little bit. And damn, he did that, and he left the field probably feeling really good with those Terry chants, because that was really, really awesome. Someone said Terry's going to Virginia Tech. I doubt it. I really hope not. If he does, I think that'd break the hearts of a lot of people, I'm going to be honest. Can we send Kevin Horn to the transfer portal? Yes. How did we get back-to-back Kevin Horn just things in the comments in the chat? This is ridiculous. He's taken over. I was going to be on the obligatory podcast tonight, the Unfiltered, Unhinged, but I'm off to go do a film breakdown, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to show you Katron Allen. Oh, HD is highly diverse spread offense. I'm good. That already sounds like too much. But I'm going to show you guys Katron Allen and his record-setting day to become the all-time leading rusher. It was pretty awesome. So we'll take a look at that. That will be out on For the Bloggy by the morning time. Don, thank you for the donation. 3 simple words. Brian, F-word, Heartline. I hear you. I hear you on that. Why does everyone hate Kevin Horn? We got to stop talking about Kevin Horn. This is amazing. Joe said, make these call in 3-hour sessions, Landon. You got the stamina. No, sir. No, sir. Maybe one day. When we hire, let me know in the chat. Do you guys want a live show when we hire the new coach? Let me know. I'll probably have a video ready because I'll probably know. But I don't know. You let me know. Maybe we'll go live pretty soon after. Within like 12 hours of the hiring happen, we'll do a live call in. We'll get in here. Might be Monday. If we hire a coach on Sunday, we'll just go normal Sunday night show, and we'll go. Someone said T. Frank to Virginia Tech. Oh, this is amazing. A call in marathon. All right, we're gonna do a call in show. All right, I got you guys. We'll do it. We'll do it. Hour of. No, the hour of. You guys are crazy. I love you guys, man. Seriously, I really appreciate all your support. You guys are the best fans in the entire world. Chris Buchanani and I have a really cool video coming out for you guys tomorrow on the head coaching search. It's going to be different. We're going to play a little game. Live show within 12 hours. It is. Appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.